Hola a todos, ¿cómo están? Soy Lamin y bienvenidos a Afrospanish, the imperfect or the preterite. The preterite. As a beginner, the imperfect and the preterite might get you saying, why am I learning Spanish? Well, there are many good reasons why you are learning Spanish. Now, the reason why the imperfect and the preterite can be a headache is because we use both of them to talk about the past tense, but we use each one differently. Now, since we are going to be talking about the preterite today, you can forget about the imperfect for now and focus on the preterite. So, just when do we use the preterite? Good question. You see, we use the preterite for actions that happened in the past and were completed in the past. I know, the first time I heard that, I was like, are you serious? So, I will tell you in the simplest and easiest way what does that mean. And it simply means that if you are going to say, I used to or I was, then don't use the preterite. I will say it one more time. You know what? You can just press rewind. But there are some exceptions. Just like in life, there are exceptions to everything. But don't you worry too much about the exceptions. So, let's see some examples. Number 1, I ate the food last night. Number 2, I was eating when you called. Number 3, I ate a lot when I was younger. Now, number 1, we can use the preterite because we didn't say I was or I used to. And like they said, it happened in the past and it was completed in the past. Number 2, we cannot use the preterite with I was eating, but we can use it with when you called. And number 3, we can use the preterite with I ate a lot, but not with when I was younger. As long as you remember that we don't use the preterite for was and used to, you'll do just fine. But to make things even easier, we are going to see some trigger words that trigger the preterite at the end of this video. So stick around till the end to get those trigger words. Now that we know how to use the preterite, don't you think it makes sense that we know how they look like? I think we all do. So let's take a look. But first, it's good to know that just like the regular verbs in the present tense, there is also a formula when it comes to conjugating the regular verbs in the preterite. So let's see how to conjugate caminar, comer, and vivir in the preterite. Let's begin with caminar. Yo caminé. Tú caminaste. Usted, él, ella caminó. Nosotros, nosotras caminamos. Ustedes, ellos, ellas caminaron. As you can see, all we did was subtracted AR and replace it with E for yo, aste for tú, O for usted, él, and ella, amos for nosotros and nosotras, Aaron for ustedes, ellos, and ellas. And these endings are for all the regular verbs in the preterite that ends with AR. Now, if you looked at nosotros, you will see that for the regular AR verbs, it is the same thing in the present tense as well as in the preterite. Now, let's see the next one, comer. Yo comí. Tú comiste. Usted, él, ella comió. Nosotros, nosotras comimos. Ustedes, ellos, ellas comieron. As you can also see that all we did was subtracted ER and replace it with I for yo, iste for tú, yo for usted, él, and ella, imos for nosotros and nosotras, hicieron, for ustedes, ellos, and ellas. And these endings are also for all the regular verbs in the preterite that ends with er. Let's see the last one. Vivir. Yo viví. Tú viviste. Usted, él, ella vivió. Nosotros, nosotras vivimos. Ustedes, ellos, ellas vivieron. As you can see here also that all we did was subtracted ir and replaced it with I for yo, este for tú, yo for usted, él, and ella, himos for nosotros and nosotras, hicieron for ustedes, ellos, and ellas. And these endings are also for all the regular verbs in the preterite that ends with ir. And as you can see that the er and ir verbs have the same endings in the preterite. Now we are going to see the words that trigger the preterite. And if you see these words, don't think, don't hesitate, and don't wonder. Just go ahead and use the preterite. And these trigger words are una vez, el otro día, ayer, anoche, la semana pasada, el mes pasado, el año pasado, en ese momento, durante 5 siglos, desde el primer momento, ayer por la tarde, hoy por la mañana. Now these are the formulas when it comes to conjugating the regular AR, ER, and IR verb in the preterite. And know that just because a verb is regular in the present tense doesn't mean it is going to be regular in the preterite, vice versa. Homework, find out what is the preterite for asistir and put it down in the comment. And as always, thank you so much for supporting this channel and thank you for watching. Muchas gracias y nos vemos.